Last class we have discussed about operation of speed governing system and modeling of speed governing system. It is the first major part in controlling of active power. Now we are discussing about active power control, or it is also called as a load frequency control in a power system. The major parts in this activity are the speed governing system and turbine and generator load model. In the first step, we have taken the modeling of speed governing system, and earlier we have done it, and we got the transfer function which consisting of the input and output, and we have drawn the block diagram in the previous case. Now let us come to the second major part. So it is a turbine model. This turbine model, it is a steam turbine. Here we have HP turbine, high pressure turbine, intermediate pressure turbine, and low pressure turbine, and all these are coupled on the same shaft. High pressure, intermediate, and low pressure turbines, so all these are coupled on the same shaft, and this same shaft will be connected to the generator here. Now it is a boiler, and in this combustion of the fuel will be takes place, and the water will be circulated in this boiler because of the heat inside the boiler, and that will be converted into the steam, and this steam has the high pressure and also high temperature. From this boiler, the steam with high pressure and temperature will allowed to enter into the high pressure turbine through the pipes. So when this steam with high pressure enters into the turbine, then this steam will be do some work on the vanes of the turbine. So actually this is steam which is enters from the boiler into the high pressure stage of the turbine, then the steam will be expanded. The steam will be expanded inside the high pressure turbine. While it is expanded, so some work will be done on the vanes of the turbine. So because high pressure steam is passed through the tubes, and when it is allowed inside the high pressure turbine, it will be expanded. When it is released into the high pressure stage turbine, so it will be expanded, and during the expansion process some work will be done. So this work, how it will be, it will rotate the turbine. The steam with high pressure will be released inside the HP stage turbine, and during the expansion process it will do some work on the vanes of the turbine, and that work will be in the form of the rotation of this turbine. So that is how this steam with high pressure and temperature will rotate the turbine shaft. After work done, it will loses the some pressure. The steam will lose the pressure, and also it will lose the temperature also. After work done in the high pressure stage turbine, the steam will lose its pressure and temperature. So if we allow the same steam into the intermediate pressure turbine, then it will be converted into the water, and also the pressure inside the steam will not rotate sufficiently this intermediate pressure turbine also. So that's why if it is converted into the water, that water will damage the turbine blades also, so that the efficiency of the system will be reduced. Hence, in order to overcome this problem, after the work done inside the high pressure stage turbine, that steam with low pressure and temperature is allowed to pass through the tubes into the boiler, where it will be reheated. Because if the same steam with low pressure and temperature, if it is not reheated, and if it is allowed to pass through the intermediate pressure turbine, then it will be converted into the water, and it will damage the blades of the turbine, and also moreover the efficiency will be reduced. In order to overcome that problem here, it is allowed to pass through the boiler, and where it is reheated and allowed to pass through the pipes and enters into the intermediate pressure turbine. It gets the sufficient pressure, and also it will be gets the temperature and enters into the IP stage of the turbine. Now here the steam after reheating, it will gain the pressure and temperature, and again it will do the some work on the vanes of the turbine, and after useful work in this IP stage turbine, the steam will be again allowed to the low pressure turbine, and it is input to the low pressure turbine, and where it will do the some work, and after done the some work, and it will goes to the condenser. Here boiler steam with high pressure and temperature allowed to enters into the HP stage, where it works on the vanes of the turbine. So because it loses the some pressure and temperature, it is reheated by allowing through the boiler, where it gets the high pressure and temperature, and there through the pipes it is enters into the intermediate pressure turbine, and it will do the some work on the IP turbine, and output of the IP turbine will be connected to the LP, and the same steam with some temperature and pressure, and enters into the low pressure turbine, and where it will do the work on it. After doing some useful work on the LP stage turbine, enters into the condenser. So this is how steam is generated inside the boiler because of the combustion of the fuel, and how it is enters into the condenser. Now this steam is allowed to condenser, where it will condenses the steam into the water. So here the condenser will condense the steam into the water, so which is coming from the LP turbine, and after converts into the water, it has some heatness it will have. This in order to reduce this heat of the water, so after conversion the steam into the water, this water still has some heat. In order to avoid that heat, it is allowed to pass through the cooling tower, where this water will be completely cooled down in the cooling water. So now after the completely cooled down, and that water will be circulated by using the pumps here. So we have the feed water pumps. So by using the circulating water pumps, so the water will be circulated from the condenser to the boiler. So in this process, that water is allowed to pass through the HP heater. So this is a heater. This is a heater, HP heater, where this water is heated up, and after that it is by using the boiler feed pumps, it is allowed to the LP heater, where it is heated again, and it is passed through the pipes and allowed to enters into the boiler. That means the steam after converting to the water, that water is again recirculated through the circulating water pumps and HP and LP heaters, and allowed to enters into the boiler. So because of that, you need not much water from the outside. So whatever the steam it is converted into the water, it is again recirculated into the boiler. But during this process, some water will be lost, because again this water will be converted into the steam, and this steam with high pressure and temperature work is done. During that process, some water will be lost, and some water will be leaked. So in order to compensate that, so here we are using the DM water. So from this, whatever the water we lost, so it will be compensated by DM water, and by using the boiler feed pump, that water will be circulated to the boiler. So this is what will happen here. Whatever we discussed here, so it is a turbine with reheating facility. It is a turbine with reheater facility, and we may have the turbine without reheating facility also. So we have reheating facility and without reheater also we can do it. In the turbine we have reheating facility and without reheating facility, both we have. So if we consider the entire turbine system has a 1 per unit, the capacity of the entire turbine system, actually it has the 3 stages: high pressure, intermediate pressure, and LP pressure stages. We have the 3 stages. So in the 3 stages, the capacity will be 1 per unit. If we have the 3 stages of the turbine, then it will have the reheating facility. Now let us consider the entire stages of the turbine has a capacity of the 1 per unit, and let alpha is the rating of the HP stage turbine. Now remaining IP and LP has the rating of 1 minus alpha per unit. Entire system rating is a 1 per unit, and we are assuming that the rating of the high pressure turbine is a alpha per unit. Now the rating of the HP and LP stage turbines is a 1 minus alpha per unit. Now in this turbine model, we will relate what is the changes in the control valve. So that is nothing but here delta XCFS. In the previous case, we have discussed about the position of the change of the delta XCFS, and the output of the turbine delta PTFS. This turbine model gives the relation between the input to the turbine and output of the turbine. So if we consider the 3 stages of the turbine, so this will be the transfer function will be looks like this. The transfer function, it is the output of the turbine, and it is the steam valve settings, which is nothing but input to the turbine, or we can say that a valve power input to the turbine. So for this the transfer function, it is a KT by 1 plus S into TT and multiplied by 1 plus alpha S TR by 1 plus S TR. So where KT is the turbine gain, and this is the time constant of the turbine, and alpha is the rating of the high pressure stage, and TR is the time constant of the reheater, because we have to consider it is approximately for the reheater it will take 4 to 10 seconds, because after useful work is done in the high pressure turbine, so this will be again back to the boiler. So and it will be heat will be increased, and pressure will be increased, and it will be again comes to the intermediate pressure turbine. It will certain time, because the same that is the steam will be comes to the boiler and enters into the intermediate pressure turbine. That's why it will take the certain time. So that is nothing but here 4 to 10 seconds. It is a time constant of the reheat. So how it is related, both input and output of the turbine model. So it is with respect to the with reheating facility. It is a turbine with reheating facility. Then this is the transfer function model. Now if we don't have the reheating facility, or we will not consider reheating facility for the simplification purpose only. So for the simplification purpose, we won't consider the reheating facility. So if you don't consider the reheating facility, at that condition, we will assume alpha equal to 1 per unit. So we will assume the alpha equal to 1 per unit. So if you substitute alpha equal to 1 here, then so this will be becomes 1, and then 1 plus STR by 1 plus STR, both will be gets cancelled. Then we will have the delta PT of S equal to KT by 1 plus S into TT multiplied by delta XC of S. Completely it will be vanished. So finally we will have it will be represented in the block diagram like this. So it is the output of the turbine, and it is the input to the turbine. It is a steam valve setting or valve power given as a input to the turbine. So if Kt by 1 plus S into Tt will be multiplied with the input, so that you will get the output. If there is any changes in the valve setting or valve power to the turbine, automatically it will impact the power output of the turbine or shaft power, or which is given as an input to the generator. So it also changes. So this is the how these are interrelated. This is the entire model of the turbine. We can say turbine, it is a consisting of the reheating facility and without reheating facility, both we have. In this, we first considered reheating facility. So this is the block diagram with the reheating facility. The boiler where the combustion of the fuel with a finite sized coal will be fired inside the boiler. So because of the heat inside the boiler, the water will be converted into the steam. The steam with high pressure and temperature allowed into the high pressure stage of the turbine, and where it is released. So because of this, the expansion of the steam will be happened, and during the expansion process, it will done some work on the vanes of the turbine. So because of that, this HP turbine will be rotated. After useful work done here, so it will not be allowed directly into the high pressure turbine. So if you do that, then it will be converted into the water and it will damage the blades, so that the efficiency of the turbine will be reduced. That's why, in order to avoid that, again that steam with low pressure and temperature allowed to pass through the boiler where it is heated, and it will get the some pressure and temperature, and it will given as an input to the intermediate pressure stage of the turbine system, and again it will be released into the IP stage, and expansion process takes place, and turbine blades will be rotated and the turbine shaft is rotating, and after useful work is done here, and again the output of the IP is connected to the input of the LP, so that again the same process work is done on the vanes of the turbine, it is also rotated, so that all the stages of the turbine will be coupled to the same shaft and starts rotating, so that the generator also rotated and you will get the output. And here from the LP stage, after work is done, so it is allowed to the condenser where that steam will be condensed into the water, but that water has the some heat. That heat will be removed by allowing through the cooling tower, and where that particular water is cool down sufficiently, and that water is circulated to the boiler, but on the way to the boiler it is heated again. So it is a HP heater and LP heaters will be there, because before entering into the boiler, if the water is heated, then the boiler efficiency will be increased. So that's why we do heat on the way to the boiler. And after that, as we consider the reheating facility, the turbine has the turbine transfer function will be like this: delta PTFS equal to delta XCFS. And without reheating, for the simplification purpose, we do consider the without reheating facility alpha equal to 1, so that it will be vanished, so that we will get delta PTFS equal to delta XCFS, and it will be represented in the block diagram like this. So this is what is happening in the turbine model. It is consisting of the two stages. So let us now relate the dynamic response of the steam turbine in terms of changes in the power output to the changes in the steam valve opening, that is a delta Y. Earlier we have taken the 3 stages, but here we do consider the 2 stages of the turbine. High pressure and the LP stage turbine is there. Now here the output of the system, it is given by delta PT of S, and input to this, it is given by delta XE of S, delta XE of S. You may take delta Y also, so just a matter of that letter only, delta YE of S. So I have taken the XE, that's it, and somebody may take the delta YE also, that is a control valve opening and closing. this dynamic response of this steam turbine is related in terms of the power output. So this is the turbine output, delta PTFS, to the changes in the steam valve opening. So it is a steam valve opening. These two will be related here. And the figure shows the two-stage steam turbine here. So high pressure and LP stage turbines are there. And we have the reheater facility is also there. Now this dynamic response is largely influenced by the two factors. Delta PTFS, this is the response. So this is largely influenced by two factors in the turbine. Those two factors are the entrained steam between the inlet steam valve and the first stage of the turbine. It is the inlet, so entrained steam between the inlet steam valve. So it is a steam valve, and here it is a steam there, and after some control valve opening or close position, some steam is allowed to enter into the HP stage. So whatever the steam is allowed, and that has to be given as an input to the HP stage. In between also some steam may lost. So that's why the dynamic response of the turbine system, that is a delta PTFS, is influenced by the steam between the inlet steam valve and the first stage of the turbine. So this is the one of the factor. How much we released, how much available at the input to the turbine. So that is the first factor. And another factor is the storage action in the reheater. So this is the reheater facility is there, because here when the steam is allowed here in this HP stage turbine, that will be allowed through the reheater, where that pressure and temperature will be raised, and how it will take the certain time. It will take the certain time here, and after that it is again enters into the LP stage of the turbine. So then it will be work is done. So that's why it has this turbine has some time constant, and this turbine is also has another time constant. So these two has the different time constant. So HP and LP, because after useful work is done here, it is allowed through the reheater, and where it takes a certain time. So approximately it is 4 to 10 seconds it will take, and after that it is allowed into the LP stage. So that's why there is some delay in the operation of the LP stage, or delay in the process of the steam from the HP stage to the LP stage. These two have the two time constants. So HP turbine has some constant, and it is also has the another time constant. So this two stage turbine has the two different time constants. So thus the turbine transfer function is characterized by the two time constants. So turbine transfer function has a two times, but for the easy analysis, it will be assumed here that turbine can be modeled to have the single equivalent time constant. We will have the only equivalent of these two time constants, and it will be presented in the transfer function model. Here it is the output of the turbine system, and it is the delta YE. So it is the input to the turbine. So it is a steam valve setting. So it is also earlier we have taken this as a delta XEFS, both are same. There we assumed delta XE, here it is a delta YE. So which is nothing but valve setting, or we can take it as a valve power. Whatever the power we have given as input, and what is the power we are getting as a output of the turbine. So valve power and turbine output power. And in between we have this transfer function KT by 1 plus TT into S. It is the gain of the turbine, and TT is the time constant of the turbine. So this is single equivalent time constant. So it is a range is 0.2 to 2.5 seconds. So it is the time constant. That means if you want to, if you want to change the turbine output power, then you have to change the valve setting. So accordingly, you do the changes in the valve setting. If this effect has to be imposed on the output, that takes approximately 0.2 to 2.5 seconds. After doing some adjustment here, the effect will be imposed on the output after 0.2 to 2.5 seconds. It is a process time in between these stages. So it is a 0.2 to 2.5 seconds. This is the second part of the active power control. If there is any changes in the frequency of the system, so this will be sensed by the flyball speed governor. So this will be sensed by the flyball speed governor. So this flyball speed governor will act in such a way that the linkage mechanism will be operated, and this linkage mechanism will control the valve setting in such a way that the changes in the frequency delta F will be 0. So how it is happening? This linkage mechanism, it will controls the valve setting. So this valve setting is nothing but this one. So this is a controlled, so that a turbine output power will be changes, so that output of the generator also changes, so that delta F equal to the 0. So how it is happen in this here? There is another stage and it will be discussed. So now here the speed governing model and the turbine model is over.